Well, hey there, Tom here. Hey, the point of this video is I want to walk you through we gave you that car kit just maybe a week before the catastrophe struck. So let's do an unboxing, shall we? So what we got here is the Smart Robot Kit from Elegoo. If you haven't figured out, Elegoo is a brand. A lot of different companies make Arduinos. For whatever reason, we're using the Elegoo ones. These are the only Arduinos I've ever used, and I certainly like them, so I don't see any reason to switch. All right, so let's see. So opening it up, the first thing we see is the assembly tutorial. That's something you're going to need to read. Okay, so the plan is then we're going to walk you through the book page at a time. So you've got the book, and on the second page there's just a little bit of commercial stuff, where to contact them and so on. But now going on to page 1, we need to find those things. So let's see. So looking at the book here, or the box rather, so you've got this big box here. You've got another little box, and finally this thing. And I think it's in this thing that you'll find the two little, the large pieces. Now, a couple things about those large pieces. They're not the same. There's two of them. They are not the same. So here's mine that I've already been putting together. And okay, the two black ones, a couple things. So again, they're not the same. What you need to do is look at the little features on them. Notice where the screw holes are, the drill holes are. Notice things to get the orientation just right. Also notice they're brown, but these are black. That's because, as shown in your manual, there's a protective sticky stuff. You need to pull this off front and back. So the whole deal is, when you get these things, what you're going to do, see how they're not the same? I mean, these are not the same. So like this one, nope, sorry, I'm doing it in front of the camera. It's hard to do. This one, see this little shape here? That's a pretty good clue. And these three holes, see, those can help you figure out if it's upside down or right side up. Now, unfortunately, see how they both say A? So I don't know what the A is. Maybe that's quality inspection or something, but it's certainly not. This is piece A. These are not the same. So what you need to do then is, as you're looking at your manual, kind of look for the little features. So you'll see on page 1, this is clearly the one because of this little square piece here. You see that? And you see how the holes are? So you can use the holes to figure out if it goes like this or if it goes like that. See that? Okay, so that's really important. Moving on to page 2, there's a couple of important things here. One is, you'll notice there's a very important little note at the bottom that says, take out 1, 2, 3 from bag with label for motor. So what you'll find is, each time you open one of these boxes, you will find, let's see what's in here. Oh, ultrasonic sensor. Let's see, this is, I don't know what that is. This one's the Bluetooth radio. Okay, so this one doesn't have any of the little bags. Maybe they're in this one. Ah, we hit the jackpot. See there? 4-line tracing. 4 cell box, tires. 4 ultrasonic. See there at the top? 4 acrylic base plate. Okay, so these are all real important. 4 motor. 4 Uno L298N. Okay, and then finally, there is an unmarked one. Oh, so I'm in the bigger of the 2 small boxes. By the way, you'll notice what's in here too is there's a hex sort of driver, and then there's a standard Phillips screwdriver. All the tools you need for this are in this kit. You don't need any other tools. There's some PVC tape. You think, wait, I gotta tape some electronics? No, actually one of the modes of this car is it'll follow a black line. This is just for putting a black line on the floor, and the Elegoo, this thing in one of the modes, will follow that line. This thing here is a lithium polymer battery. It's got the micro USB just like your Android. If you got a micro USB, you might plug this in now. It's got a charge. Here's another little piece of plastic. Hey, it's got the brown stuff on it. You peel that off before you use it. Oh, and here's one more little really small screwdriver, and then it's got a few cables in there. All right, let me put all. Oh, and here's the little thing that holds the ultrasonic, and this is a servo motor, and that's the thing where the car can move which direction the ultrasonic is pointing to. Okay, so anyway, so that's important. And when you open these little bags, what you'll find is, like in one step or another, you know, there might be 15 pieces in the bag, but for that step you only need 8 of them. So what you're going to want to do is have a system where you keep track of the other stuff. So, you know, chances are when you open that bag, it's not going to be closable, so you need to have little cups or little piles or sandwich bags or something, but you're going to need to keep track of the parts you don't use for that step because they're coming in the next step. And keep the label with them. So if it says 4 motor and there's 3 extra parts, when you make the little pile, put the sticker with it. Okay, so on page 2 then, we're starting to put together the motors. The one part of this that I found baffling was it wasn't clear to me what was up with these aluminum blocks. See these square things here? These rectilinear things there? What those are is those go on the side of the motors. You can see it right there. There you go. And you see the screw goes through the motor. And what the function of that is on the side of them, these are threaded. And so, I don't know if you can see them there. See, they're threaded on the side. The idea is you put these things up and down, and then the screw comes up, and that's how the motor attaches. So that's what that's about. Page 3, same thing. Notice on the lower left it says take out 1 from bag with label 4 motor. Take out the ones you need, put them in a pile. And you have to be very careful to get the orientation correct. Page 4, on the left side there, you're going to take some stuff out of the bag with the label 4 Uno L2981. And then on the right, you're going to kind of put those things together. So that thing's the motor driver. And you're going to have to hook up the little connectors. On page 5, this thing goes on the underside. And remember I mentioned that this thing will track a black line. Here it is here. This is the thing that looks at this is the stuff at the bottom of the car that's got the 3 little LEDs there that sort of spots the line. So that's the line tracking stuff. On the lower left, take out 1, 2, 3 from bag labeling 4 line tracing. So you put those together. And it's real important to notice, for me, I had it backwards the first time, the little potentiometer is in the front. The little connector is the closest to the hole. And so the idea is the cable for this is going to go up through that hole and then plug in. Okay, on page 6, now you're using the other piece. Now this one does matter whether it's right side up or upside down. So as you look at that middle piece, you see There's the rectangular cutout. That's for this servo onto which the ultrasonic mounts, and so that's the little gadget that'll move the eyeballs. Notice there's 3 screws on this side, and so you want to kind of compare with the layout on page 6, study carefully where that goes so you get that right. Otherwise, you just got to take it apart and do it again. All right, on page 7, what we're doing here is we're adding some more stuff. Now this one, what it's not really making clear is you've got to put these little, if you go back to page 6, well actually no, back to page 6 anyway, there's separation shims. You're using 3, it's got 3 separation shims. And when you attach this thing, you'll notice there's only 3 screw holes. So the separation shims go right there. See those plastic things? This is really a hard coordination task for me. Okay, so they're right there. That's the little plastic. So, and you put the the part that takes the screw, the nut goes on the top, the bolt goes on the screw goes on the top and the nut goes on the bottom, or the bolt goes on the top. Nut is the little piece that's just got the threads. Bolt is the piece that's got the shank and the threads on the outside. So you put the bolt kind of screws into the nut. On page 8, you're going to put that little radio on top. Now this one I messed up first time. It wasn't at all clear to me where that radio goes. See it right here. This is the Bluetooth radio. Initially I had it over here, and that's wrong. It's got to be here. See that? It's kind of on the edge, sort of sticking out over there. Okay, so you just kind of put that in the connector. I thought the picture on page 8 doesn't make that clear. All right, page 9, what you're doing is you're just attaching your battery. So that's going to end up looking like this. And at any rate, so there's your USB or your lithium polymer battery. You got 2 screws and 2 nuts for that. On page 10, then what you're doing is you've got, there you're just plugging in the battery, and you're also putting on, no, it looks like you're just putting in the batteries. And what they're wanting you to do there is they're trying to make sure there's an on-off switch here, and there's a USB charge here. They want to make sure that that's accessible from the front. Don't orient it so that you have to go here. So just make sure the switch is there. On page 11, now you're putting on the little USB snorkel thing. Again, you're taking out stuff from the bag labeled for ultrasonic. That kind of gives it the sense of it's got eyes, it's alive. Yeah, it's pretty fun for sure. Page 12, now you've got another little piece of plastic. That's going to be the ultrasonic thing sits on top of it. Now you'll notice in the kit it's got that brown papery sticky stuff. You got to peel that off both sides. So the plastic ought to be this shiny black, not the brown paper. And it's, again, on page 12 it says using the bag that says for ultrasonic. On page 13, what you're doing is you're now attaching the ultrasonic unit to Elegoo. And notice, it's telling you where to put the nuts. The nuts go on this side right here. So the screws are on this side. The nuts go on this side. On page 14, they're showing you how to put the cable from here to here. It's important to get that cable right. You can kind of see it here. So I think mine's right. I haven't finished assembling mine yet. Page 15, now you're starting to put the legs on. So you'll put these legs on. So here's the line tracing thing. So this is the bottom. We're going to attach the wheels right here. So this is the bottom tier of this double-decker thing. And then page 16, we're putting some cables on. Page 17, we're attaching some more cables. You're really going to have to slow down and study it. I haven't got mine to that point, so yeah, you're on your own. Shouldn't be too hard. On 18, more cables. Just really, really read it slowly. By the way, on these cables, what you'll notice is, you know, they're directional. Like you see on this one here, let's see if I can get it. See on the left there, there's two little, right here, there's some features on the end of that cable, and the bottom line is when you see these sort of connectors, there really is, I'll tell you what, I'm going to take a picture with my phone to make this clear, but you'll see that there's only, you know, it'll keep you from putting it in the wrong orientation. So that's page 18. Page 19, now you're putting the double decker together. Page 20, you're putting on the wheels. Now it looks like these are screws, you know, as opposed to being bolts where, you know, they're just a sort of an even thing. Screws tend to be sort of conical shape, and they sort of dig into the material, where a bolt will just take a nut. These are screws, and so they kind of dig into the plastic, which means you kind of got to get them right. Try real hard to, you know, always be thinking about making it orthogonal, so don't be screwing in like this or anything like that. I mean, really work to screw it in orthogonally. And then your robot's assembled. What comes next is the program is loaded, so if you turn it on, you can use it. Should be good. You can get the code here. It gives you the URL. This is on page 21. And so you can get the code, and what we're going to do is we're going to fiddle with that code a little bit. So the idea is right now just start putting it together, because that'll take some time, and when the time comes we'll talk about fiddling with it. Basically there's 4 excuse me, that's not Corona, that's gagging. By the way, it's the funniest thing, we went to our friend's house. Our small group had a thing a week ago. That was before it was, you know, illegal to have a week that, you know, you could have like 10 people, so we had like 9. But our friends served beer. I don't drink, but most of my small group does. And it was the funniest thing, they served Corona beer, and they had some subtleties where they had like the sodas and the water and this other stuff, and then they had a box all the way across the room in the corner where the beer was, and they were explaining that the Corona beer was in isolation. So I thought that was hilarious. At any rate, on page 21, what you'll see is 4 modes. So there's Bluetooth mode, and what the idea there is, Bluetooth is you control it with your phone. So there's an app you can download. I think that's in, I think they talk about that on page 25. There's IR remote control, and so that's got a thing that looks a lot like your TV remote. So that's fun. I don't know where it is, but you know, in your regular Uno kit, there was a little remote. And then the obstacle avoidance, what that does is that uses the ultrasonic sensor, and it works a little bit like a Roomba, except Roombas make physical contact. This thing will, you know, not. And then line tracking mode is where, you know, just follow a black line to the ground. And apparently the way you can do this is, let's see, on page 22 it talks about how to use the remote control, basically the arrows. Page 23 is line tracking. Page 24 is using your app. Page 25 is app. Page 26. And then if you found this utterly bewildering, what they have on the last page here is there's a website. They have videos that are probably better than mine, but I kind of wanted you to just, you know, see my face and all that. Just get familiar. At any rate, so that's the thing. So here's the plan. So what you can do is you've got these other assignments, and if you're going stir crazy and you need something fun to do, you can start on this now. I mean, I think stuff like this is really fun. You can start on it now and, you know, have something to do. And any rate, you know, just kind of chip away. And like I said, I cannot overemphasize this. We're going to move all the due dates to the end. You got to be nibbling away. or you're going to get caught flat-footed. You're going to be at the end of the semester and freaking out because when you should be studying, you have to do all this stuff. Now, I'm going to do a lecture on something called Scrum, where you can kind of keep yourself on track. But in the meantime, I wanted to make this just to kind of get you going, so that what you do as an engineer is engineers always have business goals. That's a huge difference between engineers and physicists. So, engineers, we do stuff for a reason. At work, we make a pump that makes life better for people living with a horrible disease. We're not just advancing the science, we're doing something measurable and useful, and it's in a competitive environment. So you have to work to a schedule. And so I'll talk about Scrum and kind of how you do that. At any rate, hopefully that helps. Thanks for listening, and good luck.